towards all of you. Frida and I, we always felt that we had an extended family, and that included all the band members, you know, over the years that I was privileged to teach. However, I do want to share a couple of things with you, and because Jerry Brown was so eloquent in his way, I'm not going to repeat some of the things, but I would like to share some things with you. It's important that you keep in mind your parents, whether they are with us or not. Many of you really do not know that while you and I developed a relationship at Forster, in many cases, I had developed a close relationship with your parents without your knowledge. Some of the parents were deeply concerned about you. They wanted to make sure that you were on the right track, whatever that meant. And in some instances, as you're growing up, I don't have to tell you because I went through this with my own father. Sometimes we didn't see eye to eye on many things. And you go through that period in life where you think you know it all, and what do your parents know, right? Now you're getting paid back probably by your own kids, or you were paid back, you see. And it's a difficult period for everybody as they proceed from a youthful age, you know, to an age of responsibility. So I'm saddened because in many instances when I think of the parents who were instrumental, and when I use that word I mean they were so extremely helpful in raising the funds so that you could go to Japan or England or whatever. It's incredible. And the memory of your parents will always remain with me to my last day. But on a lighter side, I'd like to tell you some secrets. I've never told anybody this, okay? You recall that trip we took to England? I had insisted that you guys be put in squads, and you had a squad leader for each row. Remember that? There was a picture there. And if you recall who the chaperones were, we would meet privately, and I'm talking about people like Mr. Milliga, Mr. Nicodemo, Mr. Techko, and others, and we would have private meetings. And they said to me, well, Ernie, you got everything so well organized, and you have people in the band who are responsible for their squad. What do you want us to do? And I said, you guys are going to become the Gleam Squad. Now, what's a Gleam Squad? We were looking for the couples that had any gleam in their eyes. I'm not going to squeal on Tom Taylor and Wendy Moore. But we kept wondering, and we would meet privately. You guys were supposed to be tucked into bed. And we would talk about certain people. And so we kept wondering, why is Tom and Wendy always sitting at the back of the bus on the very last seat? So Tom didn't know this, but you see, we had the mirror adjusted at the front of the bus. No wonder Tom has no hair. That's one example. The other thing that comes to my mind, I had to jot this down because so many wonderful things have been said and I don't want to repeat it. We kept our eye on Bill Jones and Barb Beach. So, you see, we kept our eyes on everybody, okay? And of course, you saw it in the letters, and the emails, kids wondering, why was I punished for this? Or, why did I have to obey the rules? We intended to have strict discipline. We had made a promise to your parents that we would keep an eye on all of you, and that, at the same time, we would try to ensure that you had a good time. Do you remember that time in England again? How can we forget? You guys, as soon as you got there, you found out you didn't have to be of any age to go to the pubs. So what did we do? We went and saw all the owners of all the pubs and said, if you see a Canadian walking in here, don't give him any beer. Okay? And if you recall, we would have our own sessions at Royal Holloway College, and we had our own parties and all that sort of thing, and we tried to compensate for that. One thing that hasn't been brought out that you don't know is that when the Forster band appeared at Expo 67, soon after that, we received an invitation for Expo 70. And what you don't know is that our rehearsals had to be tape recorded, and it had to go before a team of evaluators. And the end result was that the band was selected, because of their caliber of performance and all that sort of thing. And if you recall, in Japan, I know that we received some medals, and I am, on behalf of all of you, received a gold medal from the Canadian government for that trip to Japan. Also, the trip to England just didn't happen because I said I want to go to England. It happened because one of the chief organists for the Queen came to Windsor, and if you recall, we had a rehearsal at Forster in the auditorium, and he was sitting there, and his name was Mr. West. I don't recall Lawrence West. And he sat there, and he stayed at my house for probably 4 or 5 days, and he came purposely on behalf of the Royal Windsor Music Festival, which is a professional festival organized by Yehudi Menuhin, and if you recall, Andre Segovia was one of the stars of that festival. We're the only high school band on record that has ever performed at that particular festival. Now, I have to tell you, though, that there were other personal incidents that I recall. This one has to deal with Rob Paulton. And I'm not sure, maybe Jerry Brown was in on this. You guys can help me if I can't remember it. As you know, I have a passion for architecture. And every house that we lived in, I built the house, hired people to do the work and all that sort of thing. And most of the cases, I drew up the blueprints and all that sort of thing and just literally designed the house. Well, I was running out of time and I needed assistance. So I looked around for some strong bodies in the Forster band, of course. And I remember Rob Paulton being one of them. Invited them, was it Jerry Brown, Rob?
Right.
See, my memory isn't that bad. Anyway, I invited them out to do some insulation work. And then after the work was done, it was getting late, they had a few drinks, and I think I ordered pizza and all that sort of thing. Rob has the distinction of being the only band member that I know of that barked at both ends. You see, the house was just roughed in. There were no walls, and he's sitting on the throne, you know, with one head in the sink, and I'll leave your imagination to the rest of it. Another time, I don't recall which house it was that we were constructing, but I had to send Frida to see our lawyer about some legal matters pertaining to the mortgage, and I had Owen Jones drive. And I don't know if you remember how clean cut Owen was when he was in high school. I didn't know whether I was looking at Owen or Santa Claus miniature, whatever it was. Anyway, we asked him to drive the car around the block while Frida ran up this building to go see the lawyer, who happened to be, I think his name is Ted Hochberg. And guess what? The police pull Owen to the side of the road. Well, if you saw Owen at that time, it's one reason why his dad was so concerned about him. And you know, his father was a great guy. I believe Owen, he sold insurance, didn't he? Yeah. And I never saw Mr. Jones without a white shirt, a tie, a suit, and eloquently groomed and all that sort of thing. And Owen was going through this rebellious period. He's making a statement and all that sort of thing. But when I saw the picture of Owen recently on the internet, I looked at Frida and I said, "Good God, there's Mr. Jones." There was one more incident that, there are many, but you know, one I like to share is when we went to Japan. We had a number of teachers who acted as chaperones, and they were under instructions to keep, you know, watch on all the kids, okay? And so when Michelle got in touch with me and said, you know, we're thinking of doing this get-together, do you remember me? I said to her, yeah, you're the lady that snuck the booze in your room when you were supposed to be sleeping. And Michelle responded very kindly, how the hell do you know that? Well, what Michelle didn't know is that they had security cameras there. See, it's the former building for the Olympics when it was held in Japan. So it was easy for us to keep track on people. And you know, there are many times when people, well, you know, you probably wonder why the heck did we go there? Well, because if you weren't inside the compound by a certain time, the gates were locked. The only way you could get in was to climb this high fence and all that sort of thing. Anyway, all in all, this has been a wonderful experience, a wonderful ride. I'm glad that all of you were able to make it. I'm always saddened by those who are no longer with us. But at the same time, I'm a bit shocked but delighted to know that all of you, many of you, have become grandmas, grandpas, and you have your own families going. I mean, this is good. As I told you before, I have forgotten a lot of things about Forster. It's inevitable. The one thing I didn't forget, but I'm going to share this with you, when I was hired to teach at Forster, I think my starting pay was $3,600. And I was paid to teach history, geography, and English. And the carrot for the board was the fact that I had a musical background and I could do the music as well. And Park Stedman, who was the first principal that I had, expected me to develop, you know, a pep band for basketball games and you know, football games and all that, but I had a different type of vision for the Forster band. You and I, we have spent an enormous amount of hours preparing and doing the things we did. But after a while, for me, it became a routine. I just got up early, went to the school, and, you know, on and on we went. But the thing I'm trying to say to you basically is this, that you cannot achieve anything in life unless you put something into it. Nobody in this world gets a free ride. And that's something, you know, that you need to instill in your children, that if they want to be successful, they're going to have to work at it. You can see it. I can see it here. And I would like to take this opportunity, and I am not going to mention names because invariably I will forget somebody or leave somebody out. But I would like the members of the committee that arranged for all this to stand up so that we can acknowledge it. Now here's the concluding remark. Remember I told you I was being paid to teach history, geography, and English. What most people don't know is, according to the contracts that the teachers had, the Teachers Federation with the board, I received $50 a year for running the band. That was it, you see. And anyway, what I'm trying to say, whether it's $50,000 or $50, when you do something that you enjoy and you work with people who you love, this is the result. You are the result. Thanks for inviting me and Frida. This isn't about me. This is about you. Thank you very much.